Hello everyone and welcome to the 2021 Dynamic Disc Open press conference. Let's get right into it. Joining us first is Chris Clemons of Team Dynamic Disc. Chris, I have to ask, is there any additional pressure to playing here? We're in the home of Dynamic Disc World Headquarters. Emporia knows disc golf. Is there any extra pressure to perform well here?
Not until you just asked me that. No, I don't feel added pressure, and I kind of enjoy it. I always want to perform well, but it being here in Emporia is just a really awesome thing, and there are tons of people who are rooting for me and letting me know that, so I want to do well for them.
Well, speaking of doing well, I looked at some of your stats, and I saw that last year as you were closing out the year, you actually picked up your two biggest victories in a very crazy, COVID riddled year. What does that say about your game? Are you still constantly improving?
Yeah, I feel like I am. I'm becoming more confident in my shots. I'm becoming just more consistent, I think, and my game's always been predicated on consistency in general, but just being able to do it every single time. And kind of rolling with the punches and, playing a lot of courses for, the third, the fourth time, after being on tour. It gives me more confidence to do well, and the better that I do, the more I know I can compete with, McBeth, Ricky.
All right, and my final question then is, within the 2021 season, your best finish thus far has been 7th. How do you break through? How do you get past 7th? How do you improve on that finish here this weekend?
Yeah, that finish was at Waco, and I did feel like I kind of had a lackluster first round. So very few tournaments I've played, 3 or 4 complete rounds where I've been happy with them. And so just it goes back to that consistency, just playing, the golf that I know I can for, 72 holes or whatever we're playing, and just believing in myself.
All right. Hayden from PDJ, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, the tour. The tour restarted here last year. What have you seen from the sport of disc golf? Just out on the road, over the past year.
Man, it's been pretty crazy, and to be honest, we kind of had our first foray into playing with fans again at Jonesboro a couple weeks ago, and that was a really cool feeling. I kind of got used to not playing in front of fans, and so to have them, it was kind of an electric feeling, and so that's super exciting. And being able to sign autographs again, just talking with people and getting to interact with our fans, who are why we play, is just a really super cool thing, and I'm excited to do more of it.
Nice. Getting to see Jones Gold. A lot of people seen it for the first time. Just a quick preview of that. What are some holes to look out for? What's a big key at Jones Gold?
Honestly, one of the harder holes on the course is probably hole 1. It's long. It's playing as a par 4, but there's definitely danger. And it being hole 1, you don't really want to take a big number. You want to start off pretty smooth, but getting a birdie on a hole like that starts your round off really well. Gives you some confidence. I really enjoy Jones Gold. I have liked Jones East in the past. I feel like it sets up well for my game. There's a lot of par 4s that are 600, 700 feet. So just kind of cutting the hole in half, throwing 350, 400, and doing it twice, and then putting.
Kind of a random question. Going back to when you started disc golf, you played your first round. What was it about the sport that brought you to the course for the second time?
Man, probably that I wasn't very good, and my friends were better than me. So I just wanted to beat them and get better. Because when I first started, I hadn't really thrown a frisbee much, like maybe in gym class in high school. But I was really terrible at it. And I've played sports, my whole life, so I've been pretty naturally inclined at athletics. But disc golf was one of those things that was pretty hard for me to pick up.
Mahmood, do you have anything?
CC, so you're actually 7th in the whole tour in OB rate, which is like really, really good. There's a lot of people on tour. Jones Gold not as much, but Emporia Country Club very much so. There's a ton of OB out there. Do you feel like your like advantage at being good at staying out of the OB, how relevant, how important is that going to be for you this weekend?
I think it's going to be super important, especially with all the wind. For me, when the wind gets up at courses like these, I think that I have more of an advantage because I feel like people who play super aggressive, they still play aggressive in the wind, and I don't feel like that's the right move. If you're playing really well, you can have a really good round, but it can also go really bad. And so I think keeping it in the fairway and giving myself, a lot of birdie opportunities, but ensuring par is a pretty good way to score at courses like these.
Awesome. And one last question for you. What can you say about the folks in Emporia? What can you say about being here in Emporia in this crazy cool environment where disc golfers are celebrities out there? You're about to go do a clinic at Peter Pan. What's that feeling like for you out here when you're spending a weekend in Emporia?
Man, honestly, it's been amazing. A lot of people have talked about Emporia, but until you come and actually kind of interact with the people and experience it for yourself, it's kind of hard to explain. Everywhere you go, on almost every block here, there's a disc golf basket. If you go to a restaurant and, your waitress is a 60-year-old lady, and she probably has never played disc golf in her life, but she knows what it is, and she'll ask you how your round is going. So it's unbelievable, and I'm extremely lucky and grateful to be a part of it, and along with Dynamic Disc, it's the best thing in the world.
Well, Team Dynamic Disc member Chris Clemons, we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joining us now is Nikko Locastro. And Nikko, I know we're looking into this DDO week, and there's going to be so much about game plans and the style that you play with. We talked about aggression, but the first thing I have to say is when I saw you at Jonesboro after round one, you came off the course, you didn't have a great round, and you said, I blew it. You went on to finish 10th. You battled back from 50th place to 10th.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? How do you dig deep to come in, compete week in and week out?
I mean, I feel like that's part of the game of disc golf is you're going to have a couple off days, but I just got to stay relentless. I made my mind up a long time ago that this is going to be my entire lifestyle, and I'm just, I'm always digging to produce a better result than I did, previously. So it's just about digging deep, and I believe in my skills and I believe in my mindset, and I know how it goes. You have a windy day, all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of changes on the course. There's going to be a lot of strokes going back and forth between players, but I'm not really ever thinking about anything except what's coming up next. I'm thinking about the course constantly. As I go to sleep at night, I'm thinking about the holes that I'm about to play, and I'm constantly creating a game plan, but I'm also trying to sharpen up the mindset so I know exactly what disc I'm about to throw when I walk up to the tee pad, so I'm not sitting there wondering what's going to happen. So I'm constantly thinking about the next coming shot, the next day. So there's always room for improvements no matter what, but yeah, that was a pretty decent comeback. It's tough to take a top 10 in any tournament, especially a Pro Tour event. So
So you just talked a lot about game plan, and you're one of the guys that feels like you can adapt mid-round, whether it's a spin putt, whether it's more of a push putt.
Oh yeah.
You have so many skills. We've seen you, of course, develop a forehand over the last few years, and you're now relying on that constantly. It seems like you don't even hesitate to go to that. how much will the wind play into it throughout this entire weekend when you're game planning?
You already know it's going to be a major factor for every single player attending this event. And, you know, I'm going to be counting on some overstable discs, especially just trying to, like, keep it in play. You know, the wind is going to get underneath shots, and they're going to veer hard left and hard right. So I'm going to try to just, like, keep everything honed in, keep it tight down the middle. But we're all going to be tested this weekend, and I came here for the test. I accept the challenge, and that's why we're here. We're going to be challenged greatly by the Emporia winds. It's part of the tournament.
I'd be remiss to not then follow up on a statement you made a moment ago about getting to the tee or lining up your next shot and then already kind of knowing what your game plan is. We've seen you second guess how much time you're spending out there. Is that just that? Is that indecision in your own head? Are you second guessing yourself?
Yeah, part of it is indecisiveness, and of course, you know, I think part of that I've, you know, taken a little bit of extra time, that, you know, I've been ridiculed and critiqued a lot about that online, but I guess, you know, I'm honestly just possibly a little bit nervous out there. You know, it's hard to put my guard down and, you know, admit that, but I'm clearly, you know, slightly nervous at times, but I'm starting to overcome that. I think once I switched my my putting routine and I switched my style putt, I don't have to think about it as much anymore. You know, I have put in thousands and possibly millions of reps, so I'm trying to develop a routine that's you know, a lot better for me, a lot more beneficial.
I don't think there's a player in the field that has had more practice putt reps than you.
I believe that.
And with that, I'll throw it over to Hayden and
do.
see if he's got anything else for you.
Yeah, just real quick, you know, Jones Gold, a new course for everyone. What can people expect out there? You know, what's the plan of attack?
Keep it tight down the middle and make putts. You know, it's pretty much the same game plan going into every tournament, but specifically here, it really is going to come down to keeping your up shots close. There are some longer holes, and you know, I'm confident that I can keep them close and keep them in play, and, you know, hopefully come out on top. This is the biggest tournament of the year, in my opinion, so far, and I'm already feeling like a tremendous amount of support here locally from people and fans of the sport. It's a great feeling to be here, honestly. You know, people are like waving at me when I go by in the West Side van and everything. So it's awesome to be out here and, you know, see all these friends that I've seen for years. I've played this tournament a numerous amount of times, even though there's, you know, slight changes on the course. Keep the same mindset. I'm excited to play, though. I am.
Yeah, just some random person playing their first tournament this weekend. What advice would you give to them?
Just try to breathe. Try to create a vision in your mind and stick to it. Keep creating a vision that makes you believe in yourself. That, you know, even though it's challenging, you're going to have a straight headwind in your face. You have to see it going in your mind. So just, you know, like, pick a target. Pick a spot to land your Frisbee. I think a lot of times people step up and they just openly throw a shot without trying to put a target, trying to put a bullseye on your target. Just kind of aim. Aim and fire and breathe. Aim, fire, breathe, repeat the pattern, repeat the loop, repeat that loop, and stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, keep a couple snacks in your bag. There might be some backups out there.
All right, Mahmood, what do you got for Nikko?
Hey, Nikko. So you're super well known for throwing these really wonderful, beautiful flex shots where you're kind of showing. But one of the downsides of that cool flex shot is you're showing both sides of the disc to the wind. Are you concerned about that at all?
Not concerned at all. I'm a master of all angles. I'm ready for every challenge that I'm faced with. I'm not worried. I'll tell you that. I've played in wind lots of times. Right to left, up, down, tailwind, on top of you, wind's coming from every angle. You have to be able to adjust the angles of your release. And yeah, I'm confident in the flex shot. A lot of people talk about the flex shot. How about them tight hyzer flip lines? How about them putter shots that I'm parking by the basket, boys? You know what I'm saying? It ain't all about them flex shots. I got to be remembered for more than flex shots and taking times on putts. I got a lot more going on than that. You're the guy that called Ricky on a football. I believe that too. People pat me on the back about that stuff, man. No, it's crazy. There's so many people playing disc golf right now, and just the excitement in the town right now. I mean, Emporia definitely has an energy about it, and you could sense it, you could feel it. It's an exciting time to be here. 2021, disc golf's blowing up all over the world. A lot of new players are here for the first time. A lot of excitement in the streets out here, on the course, everywhere, the whole town.
Nikko, that's all I got, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys. Anything
All right,
else?
Nikko Locastro, Team Westside Disc. Best of luck to
Team
you this weekend.
Westside Flight Club shout out. I'll be dropping this merchandise soon, so keep an eye out for Flight Club. Thanks to everybody that's out here watching and participating in the event. Thanks to the crew. We'll see you guys next time. Is that it?
That's it. And stepping in and joining us now is Paul McBeth. Paul, of course, champion here last year, but you've yet to get into the winner's circle since the Memorial this year. Some people would ask, what's wrong?
I think players are playing really well this year, week in and week out, so I can't really be making the mistakes that I'm making, but I think the biggest thing is the putting green has been an issue. I think Memorial, I had a good week of putting. Even Belton, falling to Ricky there. The first 2 days were solid, and the final day I just didn't convert what I needed. And same thing with Jonesboro, I was right there, but couldn't put the putter in the basket. So that's probably the biggest fault right now for me. And I feel like when my putter is working how I want, I have the confidence there that it's. I mean, this is a different game to me. When I have that.
Well, and that someone maybe even answers the next question I had, which is you ended up skipping the Mid-America Open, and you came here to get focused in, and then what were you attacking? And did you just answer that, or were you spending a lot of time on the green this week?
Pretty close to that. I think the Mid-America would have been fun if we stayed at Harmony Bends, but I mean that one's notorious for flooding, so we had to move over to the Albert Oakland course, which was a fun course. It reminded me a lot of what I grew up on, little par 3 style. I just think playing that one, putting would have been a really big focus there with it being so short. And I think if I, came here early and kind of dropped out of that one, I could dial that in a little bit more, getting here for the NT and rather than the Silver Series. I don't think Harmony Bends would have been as important on the putting green. So I didn't really want to try to practice, my putting while playing the tournament and trying to figure those out. So I was able to take the week off because of that and try to focus in on that really hard this week. And like you said, this is one that I've won the last 2 years, so feel good off the tee. I feel like I know these courses. We've played gold in the past, so just a lot of overstable discs, and hopefully the putter's working because that's really going to help in this wind.
A lot of people have talked about the excitement, the enthusiasm, Phase 2, having fans back, getting acclimated to all of those types of things. But even just as recently as today, your wife had made a mention on social media saying that some of your fans may even be a little anxious or aggressive in trying to hunt you down and try and get that autograph or get that selfie. Where's the appropriate line of fandom?
I think that was on a close friends post. So it was, I don't think everyone saw it, but it's kind of speaking about how this is like the first event back. It's the Dynamic Disc Open. I don't know the difference between the GBO and the Dynamic Disc Open minus the name. I think it's run the exact same, but this is one where people have kind of been cooped up, with COVID, and this is the first big one where everyone's here to play, have fun, and it's just kind of, it feels like it's almost been, it's been over a year since we've had something like this, so I just think there's some boundaries that have been getting overstepped a little bit, but that's where our sport is. It's doubled, if not tripled, in size. So, it's been one of the big aspects of disc golf is that we're so accessible to so many fans, and it's kind of getting to that line now to where it's where is that line? Where will people cross that? So. I don't know. It is interesting this week to see how it would go because it is the first one back. And being a player side, we've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people that you're trying to eat dinner and people just jump into your booth with you, and you're like, what is going on here? One, we got COVID going on, and two, That's just not how you kind of conduct yourself if you're a fan. But on the positive note, it's the sport growing.
Maybe some would say you're too friendly. All right, Hayden from PDJ, we'll see if he's got anything for you.
Yeah, Paul. Recently announced that the first project with the foundation is taking off. Where are you at with that, and where's the team at with that?
It is. I mean, being at the DDO, Dynamic Disc is the first one to get some discs or some baskets going on this project. We're going down to La Paz, Mexico, and I think it was announced online for some more details. I don't know all the details of the center that we're going, but I know we're going here in May. About mid-May. It's actually, I think, the week of the U.S. Women's. So I wasn't going to have an event going on that week, so it just worked out perfectly that we'll be down there for that event, the installation of the course, the teaching of disc golf, and I believe it's a very youthful area that we're going to. So going to have a lot of younger kids introduced. A lot of clinics because I believe they can only do 15 at a time. So just a lot of introductory level clinics. And I'm really looking forward to it, So shout out to Dynamic Disc for stepping up and supplying the baskets for this first one. And we got a lot more projects. I mean, I was actually having a meeting with Dustin last night, who's actually the executive director of the foundation, and he said that we were getting hundreds and hundreds of emails from countries, all over the world, like that don't have disc golf. So it's promising, and it's so awesome to see. Hopefully we can hit a lot of these spots and a lot of these people reaching out. Nice.
Obviously the tour restarted last year in Emporia. How would you describe from the moment you got that phone call that the tour was back on to where we're at today? Standing right here at the Country Club.
Yeah, last year I was actually I was still recovering from the ankle injury, so it was a shock to me in the sense of like, all right, well, I'm going to go out there and play when I already was going to take off at least another month or so, I think. So this one just coming back so fast, and then with the broadcast that it had, I felt like I kind of had to be here. And it was interesting because it was so quiet. Like, you could go to the restaurant and it was pretty empty. Nowadays it's like it's an hour or two wait at some of these places. So it's just such a different atmosphere here. I like it. I love having all the people here, and seeing so many people in this town, because I think this is, this town, I think their biggest thing is disc golf. They have a bike ride, but I think any piece of field you see out here has a basket in it somewhere. So yeah, it is. It's changed a lot since last year.
Nice. Tournaments are filling up very quickly all over the country. What advice would you give someone before they throw their first tournament, shot?
Are you saying from a player side, or
yeah, from a player side? Someone playing their first ever PGA tournament. What advice would you give to them before stepping up to that first tee?
Just have fun. Don't go in there with any expectations, especially if it's your first one. Just go in there and go in. And if you're going there to compete, go and compete. If you're going there for an experience because you want to meet new people and you kind of want to just see how well you play against other people in your division, then go have fun and just enjoy it. You might play a tournament this week and you can have another one next week. They're all over the place now, so just go have fun and see where you want to go with it. Maybe you just like the GBO. There's so many people here camping, and they're here for the experience, and they're coming from all over the place. So just kind of figure out what you want to do with it. If you want to do it for fun, then just have fun. If you want to go for a trip, make it a trip. But if you want to be competitive, it's your first one, so just get a feel for it, and you're gonna have many more.
Hey, Mahmood.
I just want to read a few stats for you. So fairway hits, you're first. Park percentage, you're third. Circle 1 in regulation, you're first. Circle 2 in regulation, you're first. Birdie percentage, you're third. Scramble percentage, you're second. Circle 2 putts, you're third. So you're top 3 in pretty much every relevant, important statistic. You have a lot of great finishes, but when are those stats going to turn into wins? Which is what we kind of expect out of you, fairly or not.
Where am I in Circle 1? I think that'll be the answer.
Circle 1, you're 24th, which is not bad, but still good. Yeah,
I think that's the big difference. I think it's the moments. I think it's the final rounds that are where I'm really missing those and bringing that stat down. If I'm converting those in the final round, I think there's a lot more pressure on the people that are in front of me at a lot of these events. So, it's kind of easy to play when no one's pushing you. but when you're going back and forth with someone, it's a little bit more intense, and the misses feel a lot more important, and they are. But it kind of, you feel the door closing a little bit more at the end. So if I can convert those at the end, I think that's what's going to turn them into wins. And luckily we're here somewhere where I'm really familiar, so I can put in a lot more focus into the putting. And to be honest, if it's windy enough, then just putting the putter under the basket's the more important part, not necessarily in it.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
All right, so there we have it, our 5-time world champion, Paul McBeth. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Cool. Thank you.
Joining us now is Catrina Allen. And Kat, the last time we parted ways, you were going on vacation. So
Yeah.
I have to start there. How was vacation? Where'd you go?
We went to Puerto Vallarta for our friends Mike and Melissa's wedding, and it was incredible. Like 100 people came to the wedding, so that's pretty awesome for a vacation wedding.
Well, so then I have to follow up. Did you get back here in time? We're in Emporia, of course. Did you get back in time? Are you fully prepped? You're ready to go, and you're ready to get back down to business?
We got in Saturday evening, thanks to Pete Cashin, who put us up. And, I think we were here before everyone who played last weekend. So, because we flew into Kansas City. So, got some, 11 or 12 holes in on Jones, and then got a good night's sleep and got a lot of golf in yesterday, and then just trying to make sure I have a game plan on every hole today, not try to, overthrow, because it seems like everyone I talk to is a little stressed out, and I'd rather just be, have the game plan and try to execute during the tournament.
Well, and speaking of the game plan, and I know we talk about those a lot, but Jones Gold is, it's not as familiar. I mean, you haven't
Right.
played that year in and year out. I know a lot of it becomes repetitive because you're usually on tour, but this
Yeah.
one's newer.
Yeah.
What is the game plan?
I think a lot of OB added, some holes lengthened. I have played some type of layout in years past. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember playing some of those holes. I'm trying to think of the year. But anyways, I have played the course that's combining to make the hole. So I recognize some of the holes in basket locations. So I do have somewhat of an advantage there. But really looks like staying in bounds is going to be, which is always the name of the game. But I think when I think back to the last courses we played this was Vegas, and I think I had little OB strokes.
Yeah, and I think even just about your last event in Jonesboro, OB not a concern for someone like you. Obviously navigated it almost flawlessly. The other final question I would have for you then is, it seems that you're the most experienced competitor in the entire FPO field. I can't think of someone who's been playing more, playing in the big stage more often. What kind of experience will you rely on? What will you pull from this weekend, whether it's the wind, whether it's OB concerns? What do you dig into to rely on for experience? Anything in particular?
Actually, when I think of GBO a lot, some of the years I won, I actually came out and started poorly. I remember when we played Muni Gold, I think I had a 7 on the first or second hole. And then here I remember being like, in 2019, maybe if we go back and look, maybe like +3 after like 3 or 4 holes. And just remembering that there's so much, I love these courses because someone can take a 2, someone can take a 5. Like, I love that if you just keep your head down and worry about your own game and let the big holes stay behind you and stay focused on being, on the next shot or the next putt, whatever it is. I don't know. There's something about that golf, knowing I don't, have to birdie every hole, or there's more to it than that. So.
And relying on some great short-term memory. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
and putting it all
absolutely.
behind you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It sounds like we have something coming in from Mo.
Mo, go ahead.
After round 2 at Jonesboro, you had a quote where you said, "I've been taking cold showers to train the weak mind to be quiet." I just remember hearing that in real time, thinking that's the coolest thing I've ever heard anyone say. Can you explain that quote a little bit more and what you meant by it, and where did that come from, and just the whole thing? Because I think that's really cool.
Should I make a super long story short? It actually started after the All-Star event. I had a hole where I had these horrible feelings on the putting green, and I finally, just talking with Austin all the way to Vegas, because we left right after, I just wanted to fix it. In all of my career, I had never experienced feelings like that on the putting green, and so finally I was open and honest with him about what was going through my mind. And long story short, I was kind of on YouTube, maybe seeing if golfers have gone through that feeling, and sure enough, in every comment section it's a psychiatrist trying to tell you how to get over your mental problems on the disc golf course, and it sounds a lot like someone who's never experienced those feelings. So I was kind of like, oh my gosh. Well, then the next video that popped up was David Goggins, and he pretty much was saying that we are afraid to fail, or we're lazy, we're weak, we don't want to face things, and you got to get up every morning and do something you don't want to do. So it actually started with running, and then thanks to Ricky and Austin, Wim Hof came up, and he talks about staying in the cold until you're completely peaceful. So of course, once the cold water hits you, you want to get the heck out of the shower. It's miserable, but if you can breathe and just quiet your mind, I feel like I can take that onto the course whenever, I'm feeling the nerves or the pressure or the bad thoughts are coming.
That's super cool. That's a really great way to approach it, and I think a lot of young athletes would be smart to kind of follow that as well. I want to talk a little bit about that round 2 at Jonesboro. You said you're going to be carrying that with you, the memory of that round, for a long time. How is that round, or at least the memory of that round, going to help you this weekend?
Yeah, it really almost brings tears to my eyes. It was just a round where I finally just kind of let go, played my game, and wasn't worried about what place I am, or whether I made the putt or not, or I threw the right shot that everyone else wanted me to throw, or all the thoughts that can come in. And I just finally, like I said, was peaceful. I just felt like even if thoughts did come, oh, this could roll and someone could gain 2 strokes, and I would literally just be like, just be quiet, just relax, just think about what's at hand, where do I want to release the putt, not all of the other things. So I just felt incredible. I've played rounds in the past that have been maybe rating wise better than that, or harder courses and stuff, but it was just a feeling I can barely describe, I guess. I think it came from, there was no, oh sorry, I was gonna say there's no band-aids or quick fixes. It was just 2 years of the hardest work I've ever put into my game. So I think that's why it also felt so great, because I realized that a quick fix in your game is good for a weekend, but all these things I've been doing, like no running isn't going to necessarily make you a better golfer, but if your mind is weak, I hate running, so getting up and running 2 miles in the morning sucks, but it reminds me that I'm stronger than my weak mind and my thoughts.
Catrina Allen, we wish you the best of luck this weekend here at the Dynamic Disc Open.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.
Perfect. Team Innova's Ohn Scoggins is joining us now. And Ohn, taking a look at what you've done so far this year, and it's been very impressive as you're now committed to being out on the tour, and the only time you didn't finish in the top 4 was at Texas State. So I have to ask, do you not like wooded courses?
Not so much. It's just so much tree, because I live in California, so a lot of court is not much tree, not at all. It just pretty much like a little bit tree, most of the time it's open. But Texas was like a million tree. I'm looking for, if I'm not hit the fairway, you're looking for 4 right away, or 5 even more. So yeah, the court is just so hard out there.
Well, then I'll follow it up and say you must love what you're going to be playing this weekend. You're out at Jones, you're out here at Country Club. There's not a ton of trees for you to hit, is there?
And also, I'm not a big arm thrower also. I'm in the middle. Not a wood court throw, not a big arm throw. I'm kind of middle, but I prefer just open more, just because the wood court, it just doesn't matter you throw a good shot. It's just a million tree out there. But for the open course, at least you just throw, keep in bounds, and then maybe you can have some good score out there. So, yeah.
Well, you say that you're not a long thrower and you're not necessarily a wooded thrower, but what you are is you are a putter. You are absolutely a putter. You're the most deadly putter that we've been seeing out there. Do you have any advantage this weekend? If it's windy out and you have that spin putt, is that an advantage over the rest of the field?
You know what? I tried yesterday, and my putting was like not good, not at all, to be honest. This is like, I'm talking about like what, 30, 25 miles per hour or more? I mean, I'm not prepared for that, but okay. At the course nearby me, we don't have much wind out there, so my putting is just like, it's not much problem. But here is a real wind, but I just gonna maybe lay up more than usual. Normally I go for it a lot, but I have to play smart in this tournament because I'm not throwing far. The wind is just like crazy here, so I just gonna lay up and just take part the most I can. And if I can have chance to birdie, I'm gonna try to birdie.
I feel like that's really telling that your game plan, you're already telling us that you're going to be willing to lay up. Aren't you the most aggressive female player on the tour?
I don't think so. I think we have like Paige Shue. She pretty aggressive, and Haley King, yeah, she never lay up. But maybe the win like this, I think we probably gonna change our game a little bit. Compare with just go for everything. Even me, I thought my putting is okay, but when I played yesterday, I was like, wow, I need to just lay up more. Like, I cannot just like, I don't want to be like from hero to zero, just lay up and walk away. So.
Also, my final question is, you are actually eligible to play in the FP 40 division. Believe it or not, you're eligible to play there, but you're not in that division. One I feel like you could very much dominate. What is it about coming out and playing with the best of the best, playing in the FPO division?
Well, to just be honest, because I mean, nowadays the woman, it just put a lot of hard work compared with so many years ago, and the woman, it just step up so much game. They're willing to work harder, achieve their goal, and I'm just so honored to just play with the top girl, because even me, I thought I played so many years, but I still learn a lot of like trick from them, like how to throw further or here and there. Like, I just happy and still learn from them every day when I play with them. So
all right, we're going to see if Hayden's got anything for you.
Hey, what was the decision for you to go out and play more and play all over the country more coming into this year?
Well, first of all, I get big support from Innova, who is like behind me from all the success I make, because they believe in me, they support me, so they just want me to go out here more, and I don't want to make them disappointed because they believe in me and I believe in myself. I can do it too. So, and then also the COVID happened. Normally I working full time. So when the COVID happened, my workplace was shut down for 6 months, and I was like, what I'm gonna do? I mean, hey, this golf right there, why not? And then when I come back, I just cannot stop. I just like, I really miss this game, and my husband, he just like, hey, why not? You love this game. Why don't just try to come back and just do it? And especially with Innova sponsor me, yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Nice.
of course.
We talked about your putting. What is your putting practice routine, and what advice would you give to up and coming players? When they're out there practicing.
For me, it's no secret. Like, just keep putting. Like, for me myself, I keep putting maybe like 200, 250 every day. Just keep putting. Maybe right now I try to practice in the wind a lot because I want to learn how it's going to be putt in the wind, So even that, I still putting like 200, 250. Win or no win, the secret is just keep putting. The more you practice, the more you're going to reach your goal. There's no secret about it. So, yeah, it's hard work, but it's paying off. What do you call? Hard work, but paying off good, so in the end.
Mahmood, do you have anything for Ohn?
Yeah, Alan, so I'm looking at your PGA records. This is your first time in Emporia at the Glassbone Open. It's at least what it looked like on the PDGA. What's your impression of Emporia and the whole area and being a disc golf celebrity for a week?
Well, this is my first time, right? So I love the people. The people is very nice and very chill. And a lot of space, yeah, a lot of space. Because I'm from Los Angeles, everything is so tight, so many people. The air is good, the weather, the wind, I don't know about that. But yeah, I just love the course. It's so well with even like Pro Tour, National Tour, even World Champion. This court is fit everything, technical, long throw, everything. Like this course have everything. So I'm very impressed when I arrived yesterday, my first time practice this course. I never been here before, and I was like, wow, this is fun. This is fun. Even my game is not fit, but I thank God I come here and have chance to play this tournament. So very exciting.
Awesome, Alan. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Again, everyone, Ohn Scoggins of Team Innova. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. That was fun.
And joining us now is Heather Young, coming off of a victory just last weekend at the Mid-America Open. So first of all, congratulations on that. And then I have to ask, how's your confidence coming into this weekend?
I mean, winning the week before certainly gives you confidence coming into any event. It'll be fun to see what happens. It's just such different courses than last week. Like last week, almost all the holes were under 400 feet. And then this weekend, both courses are very long and windy. So it's a very different style of golf, but I'm excited.
Well, you led right into my next question, as you admit that you're not necessarily the longest thrower in the FPO division. Of course, people like Kat and Paige and Jen Allen have an incredible amount of power. What do you need to do to be successful out here this weekend?
Country Club, I think it's just going to be make sure to stay in bounds. I think staying in bounds will make it where you'll have a good round pretty much regardless. Jones Gold, I really don't know for sure. I have no guess what scores are going to be at that course. I mean, it's going to be play clean at that one too, but I just don't really know what to expect at that course.
Well, one thing that we saw last weekend is as you were trying to close it out, I think back to hole number 17 specifically, that was maybe the most pressure-packed moment of the entire event for you.
Yep.
You come up short on a relatively easy approach, but then you have the putt and you can it. Again, speak to how your confidence comes through, but also what's going through your mind in a pressure situation like that.
I would say earlier in the year when I had a pressure putt like that, I was tending to kind of like think about what I was doing when I was putting. But with that one and the situation it was, I was like, don't think about it. Just putt like you know you can make it. Just do it. So that apparently worked, so maybe I should do that this weekend too.
Well, it was, again, an incredible performance. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do out here. Of course, you're one of the few lefties in the FPO division.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice any righty-lefty bias out here on the courses in any of your practice?
I feel like Country Club has a good mix. I don't know that it really matters being lefty or righty for the most part. I feel like Jones Gold is righty friendly. There's a lot of holes that I'm having to throw sidearm on. And it shows more in the wind because you can't just like go turn over in the wind. It's just not a good play. So I think I like Country Club better overall, but we'll see. Both courses should be good.
All right, we're looking forward to watching it. Hayden from the PDGA has something for you.
Yeah, Heather, just kind of a random question. You know, what advice would you give to a young girl playing her first PGA tournament?
Well, I would say, honestly, especially when it's your first tournaments, just have fun. As soon as you try to make it like, oh, this counts and it's serious, you're just like trying to make it hard on yourself. When you're new to it, just have fun. Go out, play like you know you can.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mo, what do you have for Heather?
Hey, Heather. I want to talk about the competition at, I believe it was the Open at Belton. You had a very similar upshot on hole 18 against Catrina that you had on hole 18 to close out the Mid-America Open. Were you thinking at all about that upshot at Open at Belton? At Open at Belton when you're making your upshot at Mid-America? Like, was that running through your mind at all?
That one wasn't, at least not on that hole, because for all the holes at Mid-America for my approaches, I just have to throw them well. For the approach at Belton on 18, from where I was, I can't actually reach the basket from there. So it was still lower than I wanted, but I knew I was going to be in circle 2 even if I threw it well. So that wasn't necessarily in my mind.
Okay, cool. Just kind of looking at this event this weekend, knowing that you're one of the best putters, and particularly you're one of the best spin putters, do you feel like that's going to give you an advantage when it's going to be so windy out there and so many players are going to be missing short putts because of the wind? Do you feel like it's going to give you like a long-term advantage over the 4 rounds of this event?
I think I'll certainly have an advantage from it, especially if I'm putting well. I think the key on these courses is just going to be, whatever you do, don't give yourself headwind putts. It's just hard to make headwind putts stay in the basket when it's that kind of windy.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that'll be really key this weekend. One last question for you. What's it been like for you being in Emporia and kind of being like a little disc golf, like kind of a mini disc golf celebrity for a week? You're coming off a win. Like, what's that like walking around town? Are people recognizing you? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, it's been fun. There's been a lot of people coming up and telling me congratulations. And it's also just fun because Emporia is known as like one of the biggest disc golf places for a tournament in the whole U.S. So being my first year here, it's exciting just getting to see everything and be in this environment.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather.
All right, we're looking forward to how you follow up that Mid-America Open win this weekend here at the Dynamic Disc Open. Best of luck to you, Heather.
Thank you.
Joining us now is Paige Shue, back here at the Dynamic Disc Open. And Paige, the last time I saw you, we were on a mini golf course, and you were, we'll say, hiding a pregnancy. How are things going? How's Savannah?
Yeah, oh, she is adorable. She's great. Things are going good. We're trying to figure out how to, both be competitive disc golfers and raise a baby. So it's all new to us, and we're just enjoying it.
It's been absolutely incredible to see you back here on the course, like you said, trying to be competitive. What's been your single most difficult challenge? Because both you and Grady are incredible players. So how do you guys divide up your time?
I said it's two different questions. Number one, the hardest thing is just throwing again. When you're pregnant, your core basically goes away, and y'all know that one of the most important aspects of a throw is using your core to twist. So that's been really hard, especially getting back into it, just trying to get that power back. And it's been rough, but it's, something I'm dealing with, and it's just a challenge I'm excited to continue to overcome. In terms of splitting up our time, we just alternate pushing her on the course, and wearing her, and sometimes he'll go out, sometimes I'll go out, so still figuring it out.
So with all of those, we'll say, legitimate challenges, what are your expectations of yourself this weekend? And would you say Grady kind of has the same, or are they different from yours?
Yeah, they're different. Grady's been practicing a little bit more than I have. He's been playing a couple more tournaments back in North Carolina. He seemed ready to compete already, and I just wasn't yet because of my body. But my expectations are a little higher than probably most would expect, only because these courses are pretty hard. There's a lot of OB to be had, and I plan to play safe. I know it's kind of always my game plan, but particularly right now, since I'm not as comfortable in my game as I'd like to be, just choosing the shots that I know I can execute, and even if that means pars or maybe a bogey here or there, I still think I can be at least in contention for a solid finish.
Yeah, you're famous for going out and throwing your putter exactly where you want, anywhere on the course, and kind of just chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a great game plan going into windy conditions or courses like these that just have a ton of OB?
Yeah, man, the wind is going to be scary. I'm just going to be using just more overstable putters, and I've practiced with that, and I'm used to the wind. I lived here for a long time, so that doesn't scare me. But these are really long courses, so I got to be executing at a high level, even if it is an easy shot. So maybe it's not the best for the course, but it's the best for me, and I have to just remember I got to play within my game.
I love that. And one of the other things you mentioned on Instagram was that these courses require some shot shaping.
Yeah.
But some people would say, well, there's a lot of room out here. So can you elaborate what you mean when you say shot shaping?
Yeah, so I'm just comparing Jones Gold to Country Club. They both are really long bomber courses, so, that's kind of the same there. But I just feel like at Jones Gold, you just have a little bit more forced lines almost. There's more trees. Let's be straightforward. There's a lot more trees, a lot more OB that is like directly in front of you, and Mandos and things like that. And I just think it just requires a little more thinking rather than here at Country Club, just bomb it as far as you can, and you have a lot of room to work with.
Well, my final question is, do you realize that you're unique and special in the sense that when most people come back to the sport after 6 months, their cardboard cutouts aren't all over Kansas? That's something that's pretty unique. You, Dynamic Disc, your father, obviously all a big part of that with Provisional IPA. What's that like, seeing your cardboard cutout literally plastered everywhere around the city?
You know what? It's really awesome for this one reason. When I found out I was pregnant and I had, my daughter, I was just nervous that I was going to fade in the back. People are going to forget about me. And that's partly true, and I need to keep competing and keep pushing myself and be a top competitor again. But if people see me all around town, I can't be avoided that much. So I'm keeping myself fresh in their minds, and I'm just excited to show the world that, any mom can come back out and compete, whether it's in disc golf or any other sport. Don't give up. Just be that light for your kid, your daughter, your son. You could do it. So I'm hoping I can do it too.
Well, even as you're doing that, everyone's going to be able to enjoy a beverage with you around town. Here's Hayden from the PDGA.
Hey, Paige, just one question. Obviously you've been busy and kind of away from the pro scene. So, what has been your perspective, a little on the outside looking in at the growth that disc golf has experienced over the past year?
Yeah, it's so crazy. I was telling Grady I'm sad that right now I'm kind of out of the sport because holy cow, it's just growing and growing and growing. But, next year it'll be bigger, and the next year it'll be bigger. So it's incredible, man. The views are up. I tune into the live coverage every weekend. I'm sitting at home holding my baby, like serious FOMO, fear of missing out. But it's incredible, and I just think it's going to go up from here, and now is a good time to be getting into the sport. So it's awesome.
Hey, Mahmood, do you have anything for Paige?
Yeah, Paige. So for a lot of players, when they come to Emporia, it's like really cool for them because they don't get to like live here, where it's just like disc golf capital of the world. But for you, it's kind of like, what's the experience of living in Emporia like for you? Because it's this crazy place where it's like disc golf is the number one thing. Like, what's that like for you on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I love Emporia. I think it's awesome. I actually moved to Charlotte recently, but I've been in Emporia for the last like 5 years. But it's awesome. I mean, there's still excitement. There's still, maybe there's not thousands of people here, but you still run into people on the course that are so excited about disc golf, and you just happen to see them at your local grocery store as well, or at the local restaurant. It's so awesome. You still get that exciting feeling, especially since I worked at the retail store, and we have people coming into town. Every day saying, "Oh, I'm from this state, and I love disc golf," or "I'm from this state, and I love your store. This is the biggest disc golf store we've ever seen." And you can just feel that excitement every single day, whether it's DDO or not. And it's just awesome. It's just a good place. There's a good disc golf community. You just feel the support from, everyone who isn't even a disc golfer. So it's unmatched. I haven't been anywhere else, and I've been a lot of places since being on tour. So it's pretty awesome.
Thank you, Paige. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, everyone, Paige Shue, congratulations, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Joining us now is Latitude 64's Rebecca Cox. And Rebecca, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you for jumping in here and being accommodating. First, I have to ask, it seems like maybe you've struggled a little bit these last couple of weekends. It's very surprising to see that you've actually failed to cash. Is there anything going on? Is there anything physically or mentally that you're addressing or you're facing right now?
It's probably, honestly, it's a combination of both mental and physical. I spent the last year working on my run-up, trying to get more distance and stuff like that. And in that time, I kind of neglected my putt. So I came back to tour throwing further and stuff like I expected, but now I'm just not putting as well as I need to, and my mental game hasn't been where it's needed to be. So, yeah, I've just been in the funk the past couple of events.
Do you feel like there's anything maybe this week, we're in the land of dynamic discs and the Trilogy family, a lot of good vibes here. Everybody loves disc golf in Emporia. We know how Emporia embraces it. Was there anything that you did this week that maybe helped you refocus or reset yourself?
Well, this is such a huge week for just disc golf in general, and this year I also have my nonprofit Diversified Disc Golf here with me, so, whoops, my bad. That's been really nice because I don't get to see them often just because I tour, and just having two people who are so passionate about disc golf here with me just helps recuperate my brain a little bit to see like the other side of things a little bit rather than just, the pro me failing type of things, because they don't think of it like that.
And you obviously, like you're saying, you have a lot of things going on, and to me, you're really just shedding light on the bigger picture of how much more inclusive and bigger and better disc golf can really be for everyone. Would you say that there's maybe a specific, just a specific angle or a specific thing that people should be focused on in maybe helping your mission and what you're trying to do and accomplish?
Honestly, it's just about acceptance and just being, kind to people and open-minded, and a lot of disc golfers are already like that. So, just what we're trying to do is make disc golf more inclusive for everybody, and, we don't have the answers for that, but the community itself has just been so great, and there's been so much overwhelming support already that I'm confident that disc golfers are already kind of on the right track.
They are, and we always refer to ourselves as a Frisbee family, and I think we want to continue to see ourselves grow as just that and make it more enjoyable literally for everybody, which is awesome. I'm going to throw it over to Hayden here from the PDGA. He may have an additional question or two for you.
Yeah, just the Emporia question. It restarted here last year after COVID and everything, so what's it like being here, and after the year of growth that disc golf has experienced, being back here?
Being back here is, it's always kind of weird because it's like everywhere you go in Emporia, you're going to find a disc golfer or somebody who loves disc golf. And it's like the only town like it because, everywhere you go, everyone knows what disc golf is, which isn't very usual. So, yeah, just Emporia is just that tournament that everyone looks forward to going to.
Jones Gold, what's the key over there? What are some, holes that are going to be separators?
Well, I think just honestly keeping as clean as possible. It seems like both of those courses have a theme of having a lot of OB and tricky lines and long distances. So I think the key is really just going to be staying in bounds and reading the wind well.
Mahmood, anything for Rebecca?
Yeah, Rebecca, I remember filming you. I remember at least watching you last year at this event, and on hole 17, you had one of like the best drives I've ever seen under that low ceiling at Country Club. And it was with the new run-up. You got a ton of power, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is why she's changing her run-up, is so she can have drives like that. Do you feel like with the new power that gives you just the added ability to maybe like win this event because you can keep up with people like Catrina or like Haley, for example, or Kona?
I think it definitely helps me a lot, especially, on those long holes uphill, playing in the wind. Just the way these big arm women can just cut through that and play to their strength like that. It's always inspired me. So, yeah, changing my run-up really has helped me do that, and I think it does give me an advantage at these 2 courses.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, again, everyone, Latitude 64's own Rebecca Cox. Best of luck to you this weekend at the Dynamic Disc Open.
Thank you.
And coming right off the practice green, we've got Kyle Klein. Kyle, thanks for joining us. Of course, huge win last weekend, your largest one, at least the largest pro victory of your career, taking down the Mid-America Open last weekend. As you were making that transition, you're driving from over there in Missouri to come here to Kansas. Are you more or less focused than ever, coming off such a big win?
I think I'm definitely more focused. Just because I don't want to kind of let that get to my head and kind of take it easy, say, hey, you just won, you kind of got things figured out, and you can kind of take it easy and just kind of go through the motions because you just did it last week. But I'm going to definitely focus more and remember this is how I did it, and definitely keep doing that. Not go through the motions.
Well, and you're someone that has played under pressure before. You've won at the highest levels in the amateur ranks. You destroyed everyone at the Next Gen Tour a few years ago. Then we see you go to a place like Maple Hill, perform very well throughout an entire weekend there. So you've been under this kind of spotlight and pressure before. Is it getting easier?
Overall, yes, I think so. The Memorial earlier this year was the first time this year I was really under that kind of spotlight. I think nerves and the pressure definitely got to me there, but coming into last weekend, I told myself I've already been here before, so you know what to do.
Well, this weekend, we've got a larger field size. I think it's 179 MPO players, and we have the best of the best in the world that are here, and you have 4 rounds. Do you have what it takes to come out victorious at the end of all that?
I hope so. It's been, I think, the only other 4. Well, no, we played Vegas and Memorial 4 rounds, but this is going to be more of a marathon for me. 4 rounds at these long courses is going to be tiring, but I definitely hope I have the endurance to hopefully have a really good finish here.
What kind of statement does it make to the world of disc golf that an 18-year-old like yourself who goes to prom on Saturday night, but then Sunday shows up and wins one of the biggest tournaments of your life? What does that say about where you are with your maturity and where disc golf is?
Man, I don't know. I don't even have an answer for that.
Yeah,
but,
okay. Well, it's been incredible to see. So last question then would be about your age. Is 18, is that just a number right now? You turn 19 next month. Clearly one of the youngest, brightest superstars in our sport, and everyone's watching you. Does it faze you at all that you're just 18?
Not too much, but I think I'm kind of fitting in the shoes of the person that's sitting right there. He was kind of in my same position. At 18, he was playing really well, kind of came on the scene right about then. And I'm not going to put any more pressure on myself, but I think I've got some shoes to fill.
All right, and of course, referencing a fellow teammate in Eagle McMahon, great influence and great inspiration for sure. Here's Hayden from the PDGA.
Yeah, Cal, for those that don't know, how did you find the sport for the first time?
I was introduced by my dad, and I went out and played with my brothers probably for the first time in, I think, 2012 or 13. I can't remember, but again, it's kind of the story everyone tells. The first time they go out, they're not too good at it, don't really take any interest in it, and then they go out a couple more times and learn how to throw it a little straighter, farther, and then they kind of just go from there.
Yeah, that was my next question. Why did you go back for the second time? What was it about it, the challenge, playing with your family? Why'd you go back out to the course?
I'm definitely more of a sucker for independent aspect sports where you don't have to more rely on a team as much. You can kind of, it's just all yourself. So I think that kind of drew me back to it.
Now, Jones Gold, break it down for us real quick. What's the key out there? What are some key holes that are going to be crucial to score, to place well?
I think from what I've played, I think the par 5s are going to be ones you want to score on, and then the par 3s. So there's some tricky par 4s, but I think the 3s and the 5s are going to be the ones you want to pick up your birdies on.
Mahmood, anything for Kyle?
Yeah, dude. So I remember I filmed you at the 2019 River City Open. I feel like I was one of the first people to be like, oh my gosh, Kyle Klein is incredible, because you were like 17 at the time or something, playing against Marweed and the other Touch twin, Reed Frescura. How cool was it to have Marweed on the card with you? Did that help you at all, having a fellow Michigander kind of with you on the lead card?
I think so, for sure. Just maybe a little more comfortable knowing someone else from my home state's there as well, and somebody I've played with multiple times on final round lead cards. So, yeah.
Yeah, and were you nervous at all with, like, Chris Dickerson, of all people, being the one chasing you, the USDGC champ? And, I mean, you were right there at USDGC as well. Like, what was that like, knowing that, like, yeah, the field wasn't as strong as it could have been, but that dude is still really, really good.
Yeah, I felt really comfortable in the front nine. I think I got 2 strokes in him, and then I kind of stalled myself. I kind of stalled with drives and putts, and he had opportunities, and all those opportunities with his drives and putts, I'm sitting there chewing my nails, because I'm like, I know he's going to make this 70-footer. He's going to park this shot, get 2 strokes right away. I was thinking that could happen at any moment, but I was definitely sitting there nervous for sure.
Yeah, and last question for you. The combined age of the Mid-America Open champions, I think, was 38 or something, between you and Heather both taking it down. What is that like, being part of, like, the disc golf youth movement? Like, do you and Heather talk at all about it? Like, do you talk to the other young players? Like, you're kind of the first one to get this big win off your shoulders.
I've talked to Heather a little bit. I talked to her yesterday about kind of how we played in that final round, but it's really cool to know that kind of the people my age, from the ages probably 16 to 21, 22-ish, are kind of like that next generation of players. Like, the top players in the world right now are going to be followed by the group age range that I'm in, so it's really cool to know that.
Awesome, dude. Well, good luck this weekend, and it's cool to see you win last weekend.
Thank you.
And again, yes, you're Mid-America Open champion, trying to carry that momentum here into the 2021 Dynamic Disc Open. Thanks for joining us, Kyle.
Appreciate it.
Joining us now is Eagle McMahon, a previous champion here at the event, coming back from 2018 where you were a crown champion. Eagle, raw power seems to get rewarded on a course like this. However, can it get you in trouble out here on these courses?
It definitely can. Last year was definitely got me in a lot of trouble with trying to reach some holes that I probably should try not to reach. But definitely I much rather have the distance to attack the holes. So it's really about just picking my landing zones and trying to make the best decision possible.
Everybody will talk about the OB because it's everywhere out here on this course. So combating the wind with the OB and your power, is that a huge advantage over literally the rest of the field? I mean, you have more of that than most. More power, that is.
Yeah, it definitely helps out here, especially at country club. Just getting the distance off the tee and finding a rhythm I can be 50 to 100 feet in front of most people, and that can just de-stress certain situations that would otherwise be stressful for some other players. So if I can get on a good rhythm out here, it definitely plays to my style.
Well, back in 2015, it was this event that I feel like really put you on the map in terms of worldwide. I mean, people knew you in Colorado. They knew how good you were. But when you came here and you performed very well, we found you on the lead card and vying for the title at that point. You came up short that year, but do you have some of those vibes? Do you have some of those feelings? You've been successful in 2018. When you come back here, do you think like, hey, this is where I put myself on the map?
No, it's definitely cool. I'm actually staying at 45 minutes outside of town in a little town called Alma, but it's on the same like a spring-fed lake that I stayed in at 2015. So it's bringing back some memories. That 45-minute drive may not be ideal, but it definitely brings back some cool memories to this event for sure.
Well, and speaking of a 45-minute drive, I know you're someone who really digs deep, and I think whether it's a form of meditation or concentration, what do you think you'll be doing in that 45-minute drive? Is that going to be likely with friends, or do you feel like you're going to be within your own mind at that time?
Oh, I'm staying Airbnb with 6 other people. We need to coordinate rides. I'm definitely not going to be listening to like chanting music on the drive. It's going to be probably just talking about the collector market on whatever Discmania Prodigy disc there is or something along those lines.
And again, going back to what we've seen here, different iterations. We've seen the country club in a few configurations, and we've seen Jones East a number of times, but this Jones Gold layout, maybe explain to somebody who hasn't seen it played in any capacity, what is Jones East versus Jones Gold? How would you describe them to someone?
Yeah, so for someone who isn't familiar with the courses out here, Jones is a park, and in the past the pros have played Jones East, and Jones West has been more of a AM-centered course, but they're on the same property. Jones Gold takes advantage of the whole park and basically makes a larger scale course. So there's some distance out there, but I feel like the first 2 rounds it's just about kind of getting them done. It doesn't have the same teeth as Country Club, but I think this is more of a Worlds preview than anything for next year. And DD will see, the tournament director, see how Jones plays, and hopefully they'll make the necessary changes for Worlds next year. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out this year.
My final question, and maybe that speaks of changes a little bit. We're expecting some inclement weather, not just the wind, but we might see some rain and/or thunderstorms during the opening round. Knowing that 24 hours before you play, is there anything else that you do mentally to prep yourself?
I'd go to Walmart to buy some extra towels and an umbrella.
Makes perfect sense. Pro tip, that's what hotels are for, but you're at an Airbnb, so don't steal those. All right, it sounds like we've got some more questions coming in from the PDGA.
Eagle, this is going to be your 5th tournament of the year. They've all been Elite Series events. I don't remember you playing as sparsely as you're playing this year. Are you picking and choosing your spots more than you have in the past?
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm playing every weekend right now. No, it just there's 20 plus Elite Series events on tour, and right there, I'm on the road for 80 it feels like 70 to 80% of the year to play any like Silver Series or A-tier events. I'm actually playing one next weekend just because it's in Colorado and I'm going to be home. It just doesn't really make sense for me where I'm at in my career. Winning an A-tier is all great, like performing well at any event, but my focus is on the Elite Series, National Tour, Majors, because those are what people are going to remember opposed to a smaller event. And I'm fortunate that I can focus on the bigger stage. Thanks to Discmania, thank you to the Disc Golf Pro Tour, so that us players can kind of narrow our focus and be legitimate athletes. Like I'm trying to go to the gym in the off weeks, take care of my body to the best of my ability. So that's kind of the reason why I'm focusing on the big stage.
Knowing that you have some of the biggest weapons in the field and maybe more experience under your belt, do you feel like you can come out and play within your game and let other players press and try to catch up to you, whereas in the past maybe you were gunning a little bit for more of the top dogs?
I've never really gunned for the top dogs. I'm just all about trying to set a pace to start out with. I know if I go out there and play within myself, I'm going to lay down a solid score, and pretty much all of my successes have been just doing that, just knowing that if I play to my talent level and don't make any irresponsible mistakes, then I'm going to be in the podium 9 times out of 10.
We just heard from your Discmania teammate Kyle Klein coming off one of the biggest wins of his career, the first at this level. Are you looking at Kyle differently this week as maybe more of a competitor and less of a protege?
Oh gosh, he's my protege. No, I think it's great. I'm really happy for him. Seeing someone on the same team, take a big win down is really cool, and I can't be happier for him. But a competitor's a competitor. Like Simon's one of my best friends. When he's on tour, I want to beat him. I want to beat him no matter what. So you can be best friends off the course, but when you step foot on T1, you're enemies to a certain extent.
Mahmood, anything for Eagle? Sorry, hey Mo, anything for Eagle?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Eagle. Speaking of Kyle Klein, Gavin Rathbun is also having like a pretty sick year. You got Oskari Wikström out in Finland, another young crush boy. I gotta ask, what is Discmania like feeding you guys? Like, how does Discmania have all these young superstars and they're all popping up at the same time? It feels like.
Well, as UC Maresma would say, this is highly confidential information, so I can't tell you. So there's that.
All right, cool. That totally makes sense. Probably, I don't want to just say this blanket statement, but I'm pretty sure you have the longest sidearm on tour. I don't think anyone would argue that. And you probably have the longest backhand on tour. You have both of them. How valuable is it to be to have the length, both sidearm and backhand, at this course this weekend when it's going to be windy and you get to throw hyzer all the time, as opposed to someone else who might have to throw turnovers and stuff?
Yeah, it definitely helps, but you still have to make the shots. You're not going to go out there and just, the course isn't just going to award you saying, oh, you have the longest sidearm, you have the longest backhand, oh, here's first place. That's not how it works. It's you still have to go out there and throw them. And as Terry asked me earlier, sometimes it can get me into more trouble than I would like. So playing within myself, knowing my landing zone, those are the key aspects of this coming event.
Awesome. Eagle, thanks, dude. Good luck this weekend.
Again, Eagle McMahon, best of luck to you here at the Dynamic Disc Open.
Thanks, guys.
Joining us now is Missy Gannon, and well, how you doing, Missy?
I'm good. I'm so good.
Always good, always smiling, no matter what. Speaking of smiling, let's think back a year ago. Mm-hmm. You finished second at this event. It was an incredible performance. When you run into the likes of a Paige Pierce, some days, no matter what you do, you can't get past her. But some would say that was almost a breakout performance. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that at all? Is there any vibes? Is there any of those feels that when you come back a year later, after where we are with the pandemic, when you come back, what does it feel like?
Yeah, I think that I definitely have a little bit more feelings of comfort out here. Sure, we're going to have to deal with some wind, much like that final round that I actually performed really well out here at ECC. But with the addition of Jones Gold, which I personally have never played before today, so it's hard for me to kind of gauge what that's going to do to my overall performance out here. But I feel pretty good about it. Again, it's just managing expectations and just trusting your gut and trying to make the best decisions in any conditions that we might face, which could be thunderstorms or rain and also some wind. So we'll see.
Well, and then we saw a number of our players actually skip over Mid-America last week, we'll say, or withdraw because they realized there's a very quick turnaround to come back here. And now maybe elaborate on your decision making. You said you just saw Jones for the first time today, the day before the tournament. Was that timing too tight? Was there anything that made you second guess whether or not you should have been playing last weekend as opposed to being here?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, last weekend there was a little part of me that was contemplating dropping out with the course change, but I wasn't really going to play Mid-America to play Harmony Bends, although I did, I was looking forward to it. But honestly, it was just because I knew that the payout was going to be great, which it still was, even with a lot of people dropping out. And, sometimes when you're just settled in a place, you just kind of go with the flow, and that's sort of how I go about my tour. And I definitely knew that this week was going to be tough. I could have made a better effort to get here quicker, and there were definitely things that I could have done better to maybe optimize my time before the event started. But like I said, I felt comfortable coming here, knowing ECC. I looked at some of the changes. Honestly, I didn't even get a practice round in at ECC, so I am going into this week with lower expectations, or maybe just less expectations than maybe last year or whenever. But it's going to be a lot of playing off my instincts, and we'll see what happens.
Well, and you have plenty of experience to pull from. Obviously, you're a well-rounded player that's got good distance, and you're one of the most solid putters. So I feel like if there's anyone that doesn't have to stress as much, you're one of those women that I feel like can go out and be in attack mode. We have we have 4 rounds. So how does one put it together for 4 rounds, especially on a really tight turnaround? This is a longer event on longer courses. How do you mentally and physically prep yourself in that way?
Yeah, well, that was part of the reason why I did take it easier, and I didn't stress about getting here and playing as many practice rounds as I possibly could, because I knew both courses were going to be really long, and I didn't want to overthrow myself and my arm leading into this event. So honestly, I feel better about feeling fresher going into these rounds, even if I feel a little less prepared as far as my game plan goes. So being that it is a 4-round tournament, I feel like there are opportunities throughout the event to learn and make corrections, and maybe it's not the best way to go about playing, but I've done it before where I've been prepared for events, but things change and you realize, oh, maybe I should actually do this, because sometimes we all don't have that much time to practice and try every single shot possible on every course. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. I just have to keep everything pretty low key. Just stay calm, breathe, trust my instincts, and go with it.
So my final question would be: you've kind of somewhat confided, almost in the sense that you feel like you haven't put together 3 full rounds at a tournament. You've performed very well for 1 or 2 rounds. And you had the Mid-America Open just at your fingertips last weekend.
Again,
and you came up short, right? So I guess I would say, what's going to get you over the hump? What's going to get you past that little barrier where you're like, yeah, here's my best 3 rounds. I'm going to put them all together in one weekend.
Yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint because I can feel it and I can taste it. And honestly, like there's times where I'm like, man, if it was literally 2 holes, if I had fixed 2 holes every round, I could have won last weekend or something, So I think it's just being able to be consistent. I feel like I'm more consistent as a player, and that's why I've been finishing in the top 10 consistently. But now I have to be more consistent by each tournament. I need to be able to shoot roughly the same and my best every single round in order to really put out a performance that is going to get me that win. So I feel like every round is kind of like something else doesn't work, or maybe my putting isn't quite as good as it normally is, but usually it saves me most of the time. But right now it's like every time I feel like it's something different, like my upshots are just a little off, or my drives, I'm not getting off the tee as clean. So I don't know, it's just I got to put everything together and hopefully put it together in one event.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Every event you've played this year has been a top 10 finish, as you mentioned. I don't know if we have any other questions. We'll see if Mo has anything from back in the studio.
Mahmood, anything for Missy?
So, hey, Missy. Hi. I just want to. So last year, I remember coming back from the hiatus, and we were coming down the stretch, and I was just like showing every one of your putts because you were making all of them. Do you remember that round and what that was like? Feeling like, what did that feel like as you were making all those putts down the stretch and chasing Paige down?
Yeah, I vividly remember especially my putting performance because it felt like there was no putt that I couldn't make. And for some reason, I was always finding myself in that Missy range. If I'm in circle 2, I'm feeling like I can make it. And that just that's kind of how I normally always feel. But the fact that they were actually falling and getting in the basket was just like, what more could I ask for? It's like, this is why I practice as much as I do on the putting green. And so, yeah, definitely most of the round I don't remember other than putting really well.
Awesome. And looking forward to watching you compete this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, that is Missy Gannon. We wish you the best of luck here at the 2021 Dynamic Disc Open.
Thank you so much.
The well-rested, the fully practiced, ready to go Calvin Heimburg joins us. Calvin, by my account, it looks like you took the weekend off from competitive play this last weekend. Are you fully prepared now?
Yeah, I think so. Took a few days off and then got into town Thursday evening, so I got a few extra days to practice compared to everyone playing out at Mid-America. But, so yeah, I feel pretty good.
What did you do in your time off? Everybody loves to know what our players are doing out there and how they're enjoying the country, the sights, the sounds. What did you do with your time off?
I did some hiking up in northwest Arkansas. Went to Devil's Den State Park. Just kind of did a little exploring. Nothing too strenuous, just taking a break.
Did you find any rocks?
No rock hunting this past week, so no, I didn't find any rocks. Last time I found rocks was in Jonesboro.
All right. Well, last year you finished second, and that's your best finish at this event.
Yeah.
How much do you enjoy these courses?
I think they suit me pretty well. I think anywhere where it gets super windy, distance becomes a huge advantage, especially since the courses are kind of long. You're able to throw over stable discs, which kind of are more predictable in the wind. So I feel pretty good about the courses. Jones Gold's new to everybody. If it's calm, Jones Gold is going to be shredded. There's a lot of shorter par fours, I feel like, where you're allowed to open up on the first shot, and then since they're not super long, the second shot gets pretty short. But if it's windy, who knows how it's going to play, because the direction kind of dictates how aggressive you can play any of those holes.
Do you feel like I just tricked you into telling us what your game plan was?
I mean, if anyone else wants to try my game plan, they can go for it, but I play a little different than everyone else, so.
Well, and speaking of your play this year, your worst finish out of every event you've played is 5th place. So, how good does your overall game feel right now? Are you happy? Are you content?
It feels pretty good. Wasn't super stoked with the way I putted last weekend. So other than that, I feel like I'm throwing the disc pretty well. But putting, I think my Circle 1X putting last weekend was sub 80%, which really isn't acceptable. So other than that, if I could take second putting sub 80% Circle 1X, I feel pretty good.
Is the game too easy for you?
I don't think it's too easy. I just think I'm playing well right now.
All right. We'll see if anyone else has any questions for you.
Hey, Calvin, just a random one. What was it about disc golf that brought you back to the course for the second round you ever played?
At first it was just like a every once in a while activity I did with my dad, so it was just, the second round was just something to burn time on a weekend. It wasn't like I played my first round and I was hooked, so I think at first it was just something I occasionally did with my dad.
Yeah, but once you decided to take it more serious, what was it about it? The competitiveness, getting outside, what was the draw?
I think I enjoy being outside, so that's a huge plus. But other than that, I think it's just I saw what other people were doing on the course, and I wanted to be able to do what they were doing.
Nice, all right. The sport is obviously taking off. Tons of people are playing tournaments, A, B, C tiers all over the country. What advice would you give to someone playing their first ever disc golf tournament?
It's going to be way different than any other round you've casually played with your friends. So, don't go in with any expectations. It's going to be a learning experience, and just try to control your nerves and emotions, because it's a lot more frustrating than when there's nothing on the line.
Mahmood, anything for Calvin?
Yeah, Vinny. I'm just wondering. So you definitely have like a lower, more penetrating shot. I feel like than a lot of players who tend to use a little more. Like I'm thinking like Eagle or someone who kind of uses the air a little bit more, whereas your shot is more like a frozen rope type of shot. How do you think that's gonna play this weekend with big winds and weather that we're expecting?
Anytime you throw the disc higher in the air, it has the potential to do something way cooler. Like Eagle can throw the disc way up there and ride the wind, and who knows how far it could go out here. With whatever 20-plus mile-an-hour winds, you could easily throw 700 feet. But, I think throwing lower keeps you out of the wind a little more, and hopefully it will help me stay in the fairways more consistently.
Are you excited to be playing with, so basically all of the 1050 boys, quote unquote, as Nate Sexton likes to call you guys, are in those first two groups. Paul and Ricky are on the last group teeing off, and then you and Chris and Eagle are all in that same Jomez group. Is that going to affect what you're doing at all, at least mentally, just knowing that all of the players that are kind of in that elite class are all very nearby? You're going to be playing the course kind of at the same time.
I mean, I don't think it really changes anything. It's always great to play with, players that are at a similar skill level to you. It kind of pushes you, and it mentally, you can't ever slack off because they're going to get a stroke on you if you do. So I always enjoy playing with them because it pushes me to my potential, I feel like. So I think it's a good thing that I'm playing close to them.
Awesome, dude. Good luck this weekend, man.
Thank you.
All right, and I did have one other thing. It came in from the control room that we had a spike in viewership once you joined. Is there anything you want to say to all the fans, all the people out there that tuned in just to watch you?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for tuning in. They saved the best for last, so I guess I'm here to I'm the best, and I'm here to sign you all out, I guess. I don't know.
You say it. You give the people what they want, and that's what you've done.
You got to
here today,
give the
Calvin.
people what they want.
All right. Everyone, Calvin Heimburg taking on the 2021 Dynamic Disc Open this weekend. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.